Well, hello again. It's Debbie Gilbert here talking with you today about autoimmune disease. And before I start the recipe that I'm going to be sharing with you today, I wanted to talk with you about 8 myths that I found in Dr. Amy Meyer's cookbook called the Autoimmune Solution Cookbook. And so myth number 1 was autoimmune disorders cannot be reversed. Myth number two, your symptoms won't disappear without harsh medications. Myth number 3, when you treat an autoimmune disorder with medication, the side effects are no big deal. And I can tell you for sure that is a myth because I've had some pretty terrible side effects with some of the medications. Myth 4, improving digestion and gut health have no effect on the progression of autoimmune disorder. Not true. Myth number 5, going gluten-free won't make any difference in your autoimmune disorder. Myth 6, having an autoimmune disorder dooms you to a poor quality of life. Well, it can, but it doesn't have to. Myth 7, when it comes to autoimmune disorders, only your genes matter. Environmental factors do not matter. Not true. And I guess if there's one place that I struggle when I'm talking with my doctor is he keeps saying, hey, I need you to meet me in the middle. And I believe that I do in some way, because definitely RA is in my genes. My dad had really severe rheumatoid arthritis. So it's in my genes. I know that. Myth 8, your immune system is what it is. There is nothing you can do to support it. And that's absolutely not true. So I'm 12 weeks now into this journey, and it's become a wonderful journey. And so what I'm learning, what I'm finding out, what I'm cooking, what I'm eating is day by day changing my condition. And so do you do things that cause autoimmune disease not to be present in your life anymore? I don't know that that's true. And according to Dr. Myers, once it progresses into a fairly severe disease, it's there. But here's what I do know. It can be in remission. And I know this from 2 other times in my life. And so I've been in remission in 2 times of my life, primarily because of what I did with my diet. And so why you would do that and go back to the regular diet, I guess, is insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over again, hoping for a different response. But anyway, I guess at times I've been a little insane with this whole thing. But I love the place where I am right now. I'll turn 64 actually next week. And I'm a grandmother, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, and 64 is still really young. And I want to be healthy enough to do things with my family and enjoy life. I want to live life to the fullest and just keep living. So what I'm going to do today with you is I'm going to make actually an apple stuffed pork chop with a maple glaze. And so I'll get right into this. We're going to start, because the glaze, you take a half a cup of maple syrup. And just so you know, maple syrup is usually the only sweetener other than a coconut sugar that I've been using on my diet. I don't use any artificial sweeteners. I don't use any processed sugars. So, but some of these recipes do call for maple syrup, so that's what I use. I'm using a 1/4 cup of bone broth. And the bone broth that I use, I order from Dr. Myers. It comes in a powder form, but it's a bone broth collagen. And so we're going to heat that up on the stove. I'll let that start heating. And in the meantime, I'm going to take another 1/4 cup of bone broth. and a tablespoon of tapioca starch. Now, I have been gluten-free and wheat-free for this entire 12 weeks, and it's going good. I'm learning lots of new things to cook and to eat. It's been delightful. The food has had amazing taste. It's been different because I was used to eating a lot of sugar and a lot of wheat products. So I'm just going by the guidelines to see how this works for me. And so it's working, and I'm sticking to it for right now. So we've got this heated up. So right now what I'm doing is I'm making the maple sauce. So 1/2 cup of pure maple syrup and 1/4 cup of bone broth. And I'm going to add this other 1/4 cup of bone broth with 1 tablespoon of tapioca starch. This is a thickener. Okay. So I'm just going to stir this for just a couple of minutes. It's going to thicken up, and we will use this to actually brush the pork chops through the entire baking process. Well, actually you brush them about every 5 minutes when they're cooking. So just a nice little sauce for the pork chop. I'm ready now to make the filling that we're going to stuff the pork chops with. And so we're using garlic. I've got 2 cloves of garlic. It calls for 1. I just happen to like garlic a little more, so I put 2 in. 1/2 onion diced up, and 1 Granny Smith apple peeled and diced up. So you have the garlic first. And the onion. And next the apple. And we're just going to cook this until the apple is tender. So our apple mixture is just about ready. The apples are tender, the onions are fairly translucent. I'm going to put those in a bowl, bring them over, and we're going to stuff the pork chops. I was just thinking about my grandmother's iron skillet. When you have RA, it really can affect your major joints, but especially your wrist and these joints in your hand. So there's been times when it's been in my shoulders or in my clavicle, and literally I could not lift my hand up to be able to take a cup out of the cabinet, or for sure could not pick up an iron skillet. So I'm really thankful, and anybody who's struggling with that, I understand that it makes it very complicated. But part of eating well is to get you back in a place where you can do the things that you need to do to take care of yourself. So here's what we're going to do. So the recipe actually calls for bone-in pork chops, and I order my meat from Butcher Box, and so it comes with these thick center-like tenderloins, and that's what I use. But you can certainly use bone-in. You're going to get a thick cut, slice it in half to be able to stuff. So right now I'm going to take this apple mixture. Take a smaller spoon here, and just going to spoon into the center of these pork chops this apple stuffing. I've always loved stuffed pork chops, But this recipe is especially wonderful. Now, some people who have RA, I know some doctors or some sources say don't eat pork, but it is on the list in the Myers solution, autoimmune solution cookbook. It doesn't seem to bother me at all. I really limit the red meat that I eat because sometimes I believe I've had flares when I've eaten red meat. But I'm going to add just a little bit more here. Now, what we're going to do next is in this same skillet that we just used, we are going to add the pork chops and sear them. Now, one thing about the iron skillets, they get hot all over. So, I'm going to put this back on the heat, turn it up just a little bit. We're going to sear these on each side for about 3 minutes. Searing is sealing in the outside. It makes it a little bit hard. You're going to sear it. And seals the juices in, actually. I'll add this back because shortly I'm going to add these, this mixture back into the pan. Okay, so we're going to let those tenderloins sear on each side. I'll let them sear about 3 minutes on one side, then I'll flip them over, sear them on the other side, and we will add the rest of what's going to happen. Then we'll add those to the oven. We'll let them bake somewhere around 15 minutes to 20 minutes, but we want the meat to get the inside temperature to be 150 degrees. While we're waiting on that, I think it's really important every time we talk to emphasize that when you have autoimmune disease, it affects you, body, mind, and soul. And so it's important that you do things on a daily basis to find balance in every area. So that means even on the days when you feel fatigued and you don't feel like walking or doing your regular exercise, there are some chair exercises that can be done. Maybe if your shoulders are hurting, maybe your legs or hips are not, but whatever, you can exercise every day. Try to exercise your physical body in some way, form, or fashion. And eating right, taking care of your physical body, your nutrition matters because you can reverse some of the autoimmune symptoms and you can go into remission. So you have your physical body, you have your mental health, and we know that fatigue can take a toll on your mental health, and you can just feel down, and it can lead to some sadness and some depression, and oftentimes to some anxiety. So seeking counseling, there are some really great counselors who can help with depression, who can help with anxiety. If you visit our IGOT Community's website, I try to keep things on our website about anxiety and depression, teaching breathing techniques, meditation, and just overall good mental health practices. And then finally, one of the best things that I have found for myself is to choose to be thankful, because gratitude takes you to wonderful places, and just being thankful for what is. And so I think choosing to be grateful, I think choosing to love, it's important to our spiritual health. So take time for worship, take time for reading the Bible or inspirational books that help you to improve your spiritual life, and but most of all, just deciding that you're going to have a heart of gratitude, a heart of love, and a heart of generosity. So I'm going to flip these pork chops. from time to time, people will comment or give me a call or give me an email and say, oh, we wish you would show close-ups. Well, I'm certainly not a professional. I'm just a woman who has been on a journey that's helped me. I'm just trying to share it with you. Maybe someday we'll be able to show close-ups. But I'll try to show you the finished product here in the end. Now, so it's searing on the second side, and we're going to bake this. The great thing is you don't have a lot of dishes because we're going to put this in the oven in this same pan that's searing on this side. Now what I'm going to do though before I do that is I do have some extra stuffing, apple stuffing. So I'm going to add that back to the pan. Just put it around there. And the final thing I'm going to add is 1/4 cup of bone broth collagen, just to give some moisture to the recipe. Okay, so we have this in our pan and it's searing on that final side. I've added the stuffing, the apple, onion, garlic stuffing. And we're going to baste these with the glaze. We're going to put the first coat of the glaze. And so you can see it's just a thick glaze. I'm going to brush those well with the glaze. Let me give you an idea of how this is looking. So a nice shiny glaze on there. I'm going to put it in the oven and we're going to bake 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to glaze these about every 5 minutes. So I've just taken the temperature of the pork chops and we have reached our temperature for the internal degree of 150. So it's ready to pull those out of the oven. Alrighty, and here we go. So I've already steamed some broccoli and put a lemon wedge, added some garlic to the broccoli, and we're going to just plate this up and it'll be all ready to serve. So here we go. You can see the shiny glaze on here. It's just a beautiful, beautiful product, and I'm going to go ahead, get a little extra of the apples that was beside it, just place that right on the top of that. And there we go, a serving for 4 people. So apple glazed pork chops with maple glaze. So it's been really, really good to have you with me today. And the book again that I use is the Autoimmune Solution Diet book. And the reason why I do this is I don't work for them. I just found something that helped me, and I love eating healthy. I love eating delicious, nutritious food. And so, until I see you again, just keep living.